Good evening, and we'll welcome you to the June 6, 2012 Town Council meeting, and would you join me in honoring America, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilor Roy? Here. Councilor Holbrook? Here. Councilor Sullivan?
Here.
Councilor Benedict?
Here.
Councilor Rancourt?
Here.
Councilor DeAndrea? Here. And Chairman Alquist.
Here. Item 4, general public comments. This is your opportunity to tell us what's on your mind. You have 3 minutes. Get up there and make the best of it, please. State your name and where you're from.
My name is Marla Zando. I live at 6 Mitchell Hill Road in Scarborough. And I just want to say I appreciate this opportunity to address the council. I would just like to urge the town council to vote on the candidacy of the applicants to the Pest Management Advisory Committee. It was supposed to be formed after the pest management policy went into effect on September 21st, 2011. I have been waiting to hear about my own application since February. I applied to be on the committee on February 24th, the day after the vacancies on this committee were posted to the town website, and others applied in February as well. And I know 2 candidates who applied last October, so October of 2011. I really believe that this committee will assist the town in the implementation of the pest management policy passed last fall and support the transition to an organic turf management program. I'd hoped that my candidacy to this committee would have been voted on at the April 4th meeting as it was on the agenda, but as you know, the discussion and vote was tabled. So I just urge the council to vote on this matter tonight and proceed with formation of this committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next. Yep, go ahead. Step right up. Name and address, please.
My name is Richard Peterson. I live at 4 Cedarbrook East. I am here to comment briefly on the 81-unit assisted living facility being proposed for the Black Point Road, very near the intersection with Route US 1. My wife, Barbara, myself, and many others are very concerned about the impact such a development would have on that area. Traffic and water are our 2 major concerns. First, to traffic. We have been told that any increase in traffic would be minimal. We find that hard to believe. Not only will there be staff coming and going for 3 shifts a day, trucks will be coming and going to provide needed supplies and services, and the residents will certainly have visitors. Added to that is the fact that as we age, we are more apt to have a lot of doctor's appointments and/or a greater probability of having to call an ambulance, all of which will throw an additional amount of traffic onto Black Point Road as it enters and leaves the proposed facility, not only at peak times, but other times as well. Now, to the water situation. I think we can all agree that water runs downhill. Cedarbrook condos have a stream running directly behind or beside nearly half of the units. And this is where any water leaving the proposed development location will ultimately flow. Fast-moving, heavy rain and thunderstorms already cause the water level of our stream to rise very rapidly and cause undercutting of the stream banks. The additional water turnoff from the proposed development during a significant storm event will not only exacerbate the rate of erosion, but could very easily cause some of our units to flood. We realize that there are design criteria for water runoff. These require that the amount of water leaving a site in cubic feet per second must be no greater than it was before the development as measured over a 24-hour period. There are 3 important points to consider regarding this runoff calculation. 1, measured over a 24-hour period. 2, not actual measurements, but computer-generated models. And 3, no consideration is given to the impact of global warming. Even now, we often have torrential rain, which only lasts a few hours. This type of storm event creates a much more rapid water runoff than a rain event of less intensity, but longer duration. Yes, both events could meet the 24-hour criteria. And I have not mentioned the change in the underground water tables and the impact that this development might have on both adjacent and downstream properties. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, please. Name and address.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Rule, and I live at 21 Fairfield Road. And I am back before you again this evening to express my exasperation over the traffic which travels along Black Point Road on a daily basis, and to voice my right of freedom of speech. The Friends of Oak Hill just recently requested that 2 of the town's traffic counters be placed in the northerly and southerly travel lanes along Black Point Road, and our police department obliged our request. The counters were placed approximately 300 feet on Black Point Road from the back of the Citgo station. The counters were in place from May 17th through May 22nd. That is a total of 5 days or 120 hours. And do you know that a total of 79,555 cars traveled the Black Point Road during that time period? That is an average of 15,911 cars a day, almost 16,000 cars. That is much too much traffic for any one road to absorb. Wouldn't you agree? And we are still in our spring season, and with the summer almost here, those numbers will certainly increase, possibly to as much as 20,000 or more cars using the Black Point Road on a daily basis from June 20th, the first day of summer, until September 3rd, Labor Day. Not to mention, these numbers solidify the point I have made several times before, and that being the traffic study by Goral Palmer that was conducted at the end of 2011 at the town's expense has grossly underestimated the traffic impact along the Black Point Road leading to and from the failing intersection of Oak Hill. With the proposal currently before the Planning Board by Wegman Companies for the 81-unit senior housing facility, I plead with you to do something to counteract this disastrous situation before it is too late. I am strongly encouraging you all, town officials, all of you, please do not duck the standards regarding this proposed project for the 81-unit senior housing facility. And I'm asking that the town step up and do what is necessary to protect every single resident of this town, both young and old. Black Point Road is one of the oldest roads in town, and it seems to have been neglected, especially given all of the traffic it takes on a daily basis. As I have indicated with the numbers I have shared with you this evening, please do something to make this condition better. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Susan Wilder, 3 Tide Mill Lane in Scarborough, and I'd like to echo the concerns of residents of Black Point Road because I do live off Black Point Road, and the traffic turnoff right at the top of intersection Route 1 and Black Point Road is horrendous and dangerous, and adding another curb cut there with significant traffic will be a real problem for the community. But I'm really here tonight to draw your attention to an advertisement that the Citizens for a Green Scarborough put in, a large advertisement Citizens for a Green Scarborough put in the Scarborough Leader last year, thanking the town council for voting for the pesticide management policy that went through. And hoping that the town council will this evening seat the pesticide management committee as has been created and long awaited. This is 9 months later, and we're back at where we were in September. And I'm concerned that over the period of time, we've had legal fees. The taxpayers have paid legal fees for the town lawyer to interpret our own town policies, which should be pretty straightforward. And there's been a great deal of stress and challenges, and it could have been avoided. And I just want to say that Citizens for Green Scarborough support the pesticide management policy that exists. We're pleased that there's been a contract signed with Go Green, a local contractor, and we hope that the Pesticide Management Advisory Committee is seated tonight, and we wish this could have happened 9 months ago. We could have been further along in protecting this environment and in the education process that we hope to engage in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Anybody else like to speak? Okay, wrong direction there. Having seen none, we'll go to the next item, which is...
The minutes of the May 2nd, 2012 regular meeting, which was tabled from the May 16th meeting.
Motion to accept.
I would move to accept the minutes of the May 2nd meeting with the following corrections, clarifications and corrections. One, that item 5, the motion to amend the minutes of the May 2nd as follows. Strike the amendment to the April 18th council meeting minutes by Councilor Sullivan and replace that with, on page 9, after the main motion was made, add that request by Councilor Holbrook to vote on the adoption of the proposed integrated pest management to replace the town Scarborough pest management policy adopted September 21st, 2001. There was no second. Further discussion of item 1253 followed. The vote requested by Vice Chair Roy, 3 yeas, 2 abstentions. Councilor DeAndre and Rancourt. Councilor Sullivan, due to requested recusal approved by the council's earlier vote, also did not vote. The April 18th meetings will be adjusted to accurately reflect the amendment made.
Second.
So is there discussion on this?
Discussion?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's...
There was a second?
There was a second.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Now we're going to discuss it. Right, go ahead.
Thank you.
I'm just, I'm confused, because during the last council meeting on May 16th, after I had requested to change the minutes back from what Councilor Sullivan had tried to change them to, I was told that they weren't changed. So now I'm hearing we're going to strike that, but I was told at the last meeting they weren't changed. So either they were changed or they weren't changed. And I went back and I looked at the video, and sure enough, both Councilor Elquist and Councilor Roy had said, oh, we're working on those minutes, and they have not been changed. But here it says they have been changed. Although I did again go back and look at the video for May 2nd, and the minutes were voted on. So I'm confused about what I've been told and what is and what isn't. I just want to make sure, and this is an official document. I want to make sure that it's correct in its statements.
Just a point of clarification, I did not say that they had been changed. I think that message came from the town clerk.
Correct.
I
It
think
was
the
up to
fact
her to have made
remains-
the changes.
Tom?
I believe the fact remains, as regards the May 2nd meeting minutes, a motion was offered by Councilor Sullivan. It was seconded and it passed. That much is true, that's fact. I believe the town clerk offered the advice that she's not gone ahead and made those changes because she didn't think they accurately reflected what in fact occurred. So I believe it is appropriate for you to consider replacing that language, because that was a valid motion that was seconded and was in fact passed.
Carol?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I remember that we did vote on the amendment that Councilor Sullivan made. I voted against it, but others voted for it. So in effect, the minutes were changed. However, in reading our council, letter from our council, Robert Crawford, on page 2, he says, the proposed revisions advanced by Councilor Sullivan were discussed but apparently not adopted by council. This is just another example of what I consider a very poor work on the part of our legal counsel. He's not thorough. His opinions, although this one was more scholarly than most of them he's done lately, they are incredibly sloppy work. And our prior counsel, Chris Vaniotis and Paul Frinsko, were top-drawer attorneys. This attorney is not fully representing Scarborough in a fair and what I call learned way. And so I think that's what's leading to the confusion here, is that he says one thing and then he says another. He's the one who's contradicting himself right here in this very language. It was very clear if he looked at the minutes that the amendment passed. I have no question in my mind about that. So his prevarication on page 2 is misleading. Although it's not part of the amendment that we're considering tonight, it's part of the discussion leading up to it. So it misleads us as counselors to be able to make an informed decision. So I know that's something else for me to talk about at another time, but that was my confusion too, that I looked at this and after all his discussion, he basically says, well, we have to amend those minutes. And I agree with him in the final that we do. But how he came to that conclusion, it's like following a maze and never coming out to the middle.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Councilor Rowe.
I'm trying, as I recall it and as I've read through these, I think, there's a couple of things that occurred. Number one, a motion was made by Council Holbrook to move the question. And
It wasn't made. There was no motion made to move the question.
excuse me, I listened while
Councilor
you
Roy,
were
Sorry, I'm
talking.
sorry. I apologize.
The
I'm
motion
taking
was
your time.
made, and from what I understand from council, I tried to view the things, but I couldn't access them, view the minutes, but, the meeting. But there was no second to that motion to move the question. So I, as the vice chair who was conducting the meeting, said that there was a motion, there was a request to move the question, and I moved the question. And when the vote was taken, there were 3 in favor. There was 1 who abstained, recused himself, Councilor Sullivan, and 2 abstentions. With that, as far as looking at council rules, that means that order did not pass, because it needed 4 votes. And so that's the crux of the thing. I think that there was some comment at the last meeting that there is no such thing as closed debate or previous question, and I have a 2001 version of Robert's Rules, which I bought last year, which is the latest one that I could get, and there certainly is, you can either state it as previous question or closed debate, but it needs a second, it's not amendable, it's not debatable, and it requires a 2/3 vote. So, I mean, the attempt was made to move the question, but that never occurred. But the actual vote was only 3 votes in favor, which means that order failed, and that the OPM stood as voted on September 21st, 2011. I mean, and that's, and I think the language to try to adjust those minutes is an attempt to at least clarify up to that point. And it's clear enough to me. I think, we're making a mountain out of a molehill here. I think that, if we've got it, I think, as straight as we can get it at this point.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councilor DeAndrea.
Thank you. I just want to add that I believe Counselor Roy was talking about what I had said last week. I never said that there was no such thing as closing debate or moving on a previous question. What I said was, there's no such thing as moving the question. And if you look in Robert's rules, it will say that. If you look in our own council rules, Section 126, it's not called moving the question, it's called a motion for the previous question. And it was never put in the form of a motion. Counselor Holbrook never made a motion. She made a request. There's a big difference between a request and making a motion. And so the reason that I'm talking about this is that, again, in our attorney's opinion, it should say that there was no second. Well, there's nothing to second. There wasn't a motion. So how can you second something that wasn't a motion? It was simply a request. So again, I think if we add that there was no second, it's inaccurate. There was no reason to second anything since there was no motion.
Thank you, Councilor Rancourt.
Yeah, and looking at our council's letter on page 3, item 16, at the approximate time of 2:05.51 seconds, Councilor Sullivan suggested that the council vote on item 1253. Immediately thereafter, Councilor Holbrook indicated that she wanted the council to vote on the item. Councilor Holbrook stated, "It was just my humble, in quotes, request that we vote." It is not a motion. No second followed. There's no motion.
Can't have a second without it.
And I just want this to be clear that we either don't do minutes or we do them correctly.
Anybody else?
Well, again, it was a request. There was no second. I mean, we can strike the words "there was no second." I chose, as the vice chair running that meeting, to call for a vote on the main motion. And that's, I think, what counts. I think, we can beat this to death. I mean, if you want to write down exactly how you'd like things to be the verbiage that you want in this, by all means do it. But I think that we're carrying this beyond the necessity.
I think it's more of trying to reflect that we're being accurate here. I don't think we can have sloppy minutes. I think if it's a request, it's not a motion. So why leave it in to make it look like it was a motion? It's inaccurate. It's misleading.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Could I just make a final point to that? To the point made earlier that the minutes are the official and the lasting record of the official proceedings of this body. To the extent that the future reader would be questioning what weight a motion or request had, I think having that language, "no second," adds finality to it. There's no question that whatever weight that had, it ended at that point.
But it wasn't a motion.
Thank you. We have a motion on the table. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? 2 opposed, it passes. Next. May 16th minutes. We have a motion to accept the May 16th minutes.
Motion to move the minutes from May 16th.
Thank you.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? There is a correction. All those in favor? It's a vote. Next, I'd like to, adjustments to the agenda. The only thing I would like to do is put item 8, there are no warrants to be signed, but put item 8 next, which is the Wentworth Building Committee update, and we could get those folks out of here timely hour.
Well, thank you. Good evening. As many of you know, my name is Paul Kozel. I live at 4 Lillian Way here in Scarborough, and I chair the Wentworth Intermediate School Building Committee. I'm here tonight to give you an overview and tell you where the project is at and what we've got planned for the future. Let me start by saying that we have been very busy as far as this project is concerned. As far as our architect is concerned, Dan Cecil from Harriman Associates, drawings are very near to completion. I call them in the high 90s at this point in time. We have an estimate as far as construction is concerned I'm happy to say that we are within our budget set last year at referendum time. And what does all this mean then? It means that the project is going to hit the streets and be ready for bids first part of July. We expect to have bid results in August. We expect to put the first shovel in the ground in September. So I'm happy to say we appear to be on budget, and we appear to be on schedule. That's all good news. As far as our subcommittees, they, like the full building committee, continue to be busy. Finance committee obviously has been very diligent with the estimate and the budget and looking at those numbers. Our Green Committee continues to work with the geothermal component of the project. Our Grants Committee continues to look for free money to supplement our project. Our Athletics and Playground Committee have been busy out in front of the school. You've probably noticed some of the construction, some of the site work there, getting ready for the temporary playground, which will go in the summer. Our Interiors Committee, who have probably been the least busy for the first part of our project, is probably one of the more busy with this part of the project, coordinating all the interiors, everything from carpet to colors to brick to all items associated with that. The other committee that's been very busy since the last time I appeared before the council has been our Technology Committee. As the council probably knows, when we had our open forum last fall, a question was posed to us concerning the presence of Wi-Fi in our school. At that point in time, we told the folks that asked the question that assuming we passed at referendum, we would then be more than happy to sit down with them and talk about this in greater detail. We did in fact do that in January, at which point in time the Technology Committee then took on this whole issue, conducted 13 meetings, looked through voluminous information, and concluded what they had started with, that the presence of Wi-Fi in the school was a good idea. They made this conclusion based upon three things. Number one, they looked at a fair amount of research and science and concluded that there were no health risks associated with the Wi-Fi. Number two, they looked at the curriculum needs as far as the school was concerned and determined that they were best served by having Wi-Fi in the school. And number three, they looked at the cost associated with having Wi-Fi or on the alternate going to hardwire and concluded again that Wi-Fi was the most cost-effective way of educating the kids. So an extremely thorough and thoughtful process. They generated a great report, which my understanding has been circulated with the council, and they just did an outstanding job as far as that's concerned. So the end result is that we stand by our original recommendation that Wi-Fi should and needs to be in the new school. Activities to date, we've completed our geothermal test well on the back part of the school. We're having a meeting on Friday with a geothermal engineering company, Haley & Aldrich, to talk about a design, build, sole sourcing contract as far as this is concerned. We've met with the abutters in and around the school, talked about their concerns about the new school coming into place. We continue to abate and handle some of the lead and asbestos in the school. That will carry over into the summer. We've been meeting with town officials as far as mitigation of wetlands and traffic control issues. And we've been prepping teachers, staff, children, and the community about the school and what's been going on. As far as upcoming events, we have an open house scheduled for June 14th at 5 to 6 o'clock at the Wentworth School, so folks can come in, see some 3D drawings, see some regular drawings, see what the gym floor is going to look like, and be able to see and touch different components of the school. Other activities, the temporary playground. The equipment is about to be ordered. This summer you'll see the new equipment going up. This is the same equipment that will be going in the new school. It will just be there temporarily, then subsequently moved. This summer we'll see the Bestworth buildings being removed permanently. As I said, abatement will continue through the summer. And what we'll be doing this summer is firming up our plans as far as the start of the school year 2012 is concerned. Because once the first shovel goes into the ground, there's obviously going to be a tremendous amount of activity going on in or around that school, especially in the back. Our team is getting larger. Since the last time I appeared before you, we have interviewed and selected an owner's representative to work with us. This is Phil LeClaire, highly competent, highly recommended, worked on the Falmouth project, has done work for Dartmouth College, and has done work for Intermed. So he is on our team. We're currently working with our architect for the selection of a clerk of the works, and we have begun the process of pre-qualifying the general contractors for this project. The legal notice, I believe, hit Sunday's paper. We've reached out to construction trade organizations to make them aware of our project, and at this point, we expect to have pre-qualification information back from general contractors by or on or before June 19th. So this is a lot of stuff going on. Overall, I've been in front of the council several times concerning this project, and I can tell you that the project is in great shape. I am pleased with the project and do believe it's really moving in the right direction. I indicated this to the school board, having sort of been involved with this from the beginning. I can really start to see this in my head as all the parts and pieces come together. So much so that, I'm really starting to see the kids coming through the doors in the fall of 2014. So we are on track and we're doing a good job. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
No, I just wanted to commend Paul for sticking with us for so long. Paul, it's been wonderful, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and I want to thank the committee. It's terrific, the amount of information that you send our way. We appreciate that, and it's very, it just keeps coming, and I guess we don't express that enough, but certainly your hard work is appreciated by council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. In a month. Next item.
Order number 1260 is a 7 p.m. public hearing on the proposed amendments to the Town of Scarborough official zoning map to update the zoning along the Haggis Parkway and area adjacent to exit 42 of the main turnpike.
Before we get into this, we'd ask our town planner, Dan Bacon, if you give us an update or give us an overview of this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dan Bacon, Town Planner, here before you on behalf of the Long Range Planning Committee, the committee that's been working on these proposed changes at Exit 42 and Haggis Parkway, really to modernize the zoning there and create more flexibility for new development at Exit 42 and along the Parkway. Since your first reading, the planning boards had their public hearing on this matter on Monday evening, and they send a favorable opinion to the council. You should have the minutes from the planning board meeting at your seats. Also, right before the meeting, I did pass out a few emails that we've received recently from the Conservation Commission members at first reading. The council asked that they be provided a copy of the package and opportunity to comment. So to date, those are the comments we've received from the commission. The first order before you, and there's two and they're companions, is the proposed changes to the zoning map. This is the map beside me that proposes where it's currently zoned Haggis Parkway at Exit 42, the area between Payne Road and the main turnpike where the Cabela's and Gateway Shops is, as well as on the other side of the interchange where Ginn Road is, go to the B3 zone rather than the Haggis Parkway zone, which allows more flexibility in terms of retail buildings, restaurants, potentially service stations. So that's the proposed map change at that end of the parkway. Most of the land along the parkway is proposed to remain Haggis Parkway. There isn't a change to the map there except adding some additional land owned by Mr. Scammon, shown here, to the Haggis Parkway zone, and that's developable land on the Scammon property to provide more development opportunity on that property. And that's again shown here near Whipple Lane on the western side of Haggis Parkway. And at the bottom of the map change is a proposal to zone the last parcel along the parkway B3 to be consistent with the commercial zoning along Route 1. In addition to that, there's actually the elimination of the economic overlay district. Right now, there's a overlay district that includes development standards. The proposal is to take that overlay off the parkway because we're building in those same zoning standards into the Haggis Parkway zone. So that's the first order that's before you, and that's the zoning map changes.
Okay. Thank you. Stand by. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody who would like to speak on this issue? Please step up and give us your name and address, please.
Thank you, Chairman Alquist, members of the committee. My name is Linwood Higgins. I live at 63 Payne Road. There have been a series of public hearings and issues as a result of this, a variety of different amendments as they've gone through the process of the planning board and the town council. And as one of those owners, I just felt that someone needed to stand up and say, thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure working with the staff, with the town manager and Dan and his staff, and especially the Long Range Planning Committee. They've done a great job, and they should be commended. It's been a real pleasure, sort of a refreshing development for those of us who've been in this or through this process for the last 10 or 15 years. Finally feeling like we have a cooperative effort, and that this is the beginning of what we hope will be the envisionment, if you will, of what we all thought was going to happen 10 years ago. Sort of looks like there might be a small light at the end of the tunnel, and as they proverbially say, we hope it's not a train coming the other way. But right now, with this effort in a cooperative way, it has been refreshing, and I just felt that it was important for somebody to stand up and not take a lot of time, but to at least acknowledge all the hard work and a significant amount of time, energy, and sincere cooperation that we as owners have felt, and to just say thanks to everybody, and I'm surely happy to answer any questions that anybody might have, but just a big thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins. Is there anybody else who would like to speak on this? Anybody else? I'll close the public hearing. Next item.
The second reading on this order will be scheduled for the town council meeting on June 20th, as well as the next order. Order number 1261 is a 7 p.m. public hearing on the proposed amendments to Chapter 405, the Town of Scarborough zoning ordinance, by updating the Haggis Parkway district and the uses permitted in the zone, updating the general business district, eliminating the current Exit 42 economic development overlay district, and updating related zoning definitions and performance standards.
Dan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Like I mentioned, this is the companion piece to the zoning map changes. And as the town clerk introduced, there's a host of ordinance amendments. One is in the Haggis Parkway zoning district. There's an update to the district to add more allowed uses in the parkway. The most significant ones would be to add medical uses as a permitted use, research, development, light industrial uses as allowed uses, health clubs, personal services, and places of assembly. In addition to that, through planned development review, which includes additional scrutiny by the planning board, there's an allowance for boarding care facilities, nursing homes, and multifamily type housing if it's part of a commercial project, so a mixed-use development involving multifamily housing. In addition to that, there's some additional flexibilities that are allowed in the zone in terms of where buildings can go, where parking can go, loosening up some of those standards that currently exist. In the B3 zone, which, as the map shows, is proposed at Exit 42 and then down along Route 1 and closer to Route 1, there's a new provision that within 1,250 feet of Exit 42's intersection with Payne Road and Haggis Parkway, that service stations would be permitted, given the demands coming off the highway, that larger retail would be allowed up to 150,000 square feet. That's a little bit larger than the Cabela's building. That's about 130,000 square feet. There's some potential that that type of development could happen at Ginn Road at some point, should those uses change in the coming years. and also to allow boarding care and nursing-type facilities in the B3, again, through plan development review, which has additional review standards. In addition to that, again, the economic overlay district, it goes away on the map. It also comes out of the zoning ordinance, so that's sort of a housekeeping change. There's some updates to the gas station standards, given that they're being allowed at the B3 area here, and modernizing those standards a little bit. And there's a few new definitions and performance standards that go along with some of the uses allowed in the Haggis Parkway. So I'm happy to answer more specific questions if there are any.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing.
Oh, he just said he'd take questions, so I just had one.
Go ahead.
It's simple. On the planning board minutes, Dan, I noticed that Mr. Buffett had asked about educational institutions, and you didn't mention that in your presentation. Where are those?
In the Haggis Parkway district right now, educational institutions require a contract zone in order to be allowed. And so they're proposed to be permitted uses. So they wouldn't require town council, planning board contract zoning process. They would be allowed.
So that's in the tan area on the map.
Yeah, that's in
Thank you.
the Haggis Parkway.
Thank you.
Sure.
With that, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody from the public who wishes to speak on this item? Step right up. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Next item?
Order number 1262 is a 7 p.m. public hearing and second reading on the proposed amendments to Chapter 602A, the Mass Gathering Ordinance, Section 303, Permit Procedures, and Section 304, Permit Applications and Approval Criteria.
Tom, you want to say a word about the mass gathering?
Yes, this matter was taken up, it was really talked about by the Finance Committee through its budget review process, and most recently, the Ordinance Committee took this matter up. This puts in place and aligns itself, if you will, with the fee schedule changes that were adopted as part of the budget adoption, and it essentially really clarifies the way we administer these mass gathering permits. These appear in recent years to be more and more prevalent, and we think this is a much better system of administering them.
Thank you. With that, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak on this matter? Step right up. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. What is the pleasure of the council?
Order 12-62.
Second. Discussion? Anybody? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's voted.
Order number 1263 is a 7 p.m. public hearing and second reading to adopt the new ordinance, Chapter 1105, the Town of Scarborough, exempting eligible active duty military personnel from vehicle excise ordinance.
Tony, you want to say a word about that, Tom?
Sure, I could defer to the Ordinance Committee Chair if she wishes.
Actually, I've lost my place.
I beg your
Which one
pardon?
are we on?
I think everybody has.
Order 1263.
1263.
1263, okay. No, I'm not at 12. I must have thrown it out.
I can,
Can't believe that.
Oh, thank you, because I must have looked at the wrong one. This had a very quick hearing in front of the Ordinance Committee. We were all in favor of it. It basically, just to describe it to the public, for any active military who is serving overseas or away from Scarborough for a period of more than 180 days would be exempt from having to pay their excise tax until that service is completed.
yes.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak on this matter? Anybody? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the council?
Move approval?
Second.
Discussion.
Yep.
Richard?
No, I just want to say that during the ordinance committee meeting, we looked at this. Yeah, I think it's a great approach. it would, there's a lot of stress put on families and spouses or significant others that are away, either fighting this country's wars or, serving the country in one capacity or another away from home. And I think it's the least we can do to help financially the financial burdens of having a significant other away. And I'm all for it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, what's the pleasure of the council? All those in favor? Opposed? It's a vote.
Order 1266 is a 7 p.m. public hearing and action on the new request for a food handler's license from Mark G. Colson, doing business as East Grand Lobster Company, located at 35 East Grand Avenue.
This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak on this matter? Anybody? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And what's the pleasure of the council?
Move approval of Order 1266.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? It's a vote.
Resolution 1204 is a resolution to approve the charge for the Ad hoc Transportation Committee.
I could speak to this if you'd like.
Yeah, I would.
This is a follow-up to an action the council considered, Resolution 1203, back on April 4th of this spring. This was in response to a matter I believe Council Rancourt brought to this council in terms of the town really needing to step up, acknowledge its responsibility, and I guess the approach taken at that time was to convene a so-called Transportation Committee and give its priority charge, if you will, to look at the Oak Hill area. But this charge really goes beyond that, and consistent with the recommendations of the comprehensive plan, suggests that this committee be convened and it be responsible to look at townwide traffic congestion issues. It further goes on to, flesh out that charge and purpose and suggests a composition for this committee. I would note that we've characterized this as ad hoc, so that suggests that their work will be complete at some point, so it's not standing, though it may be a bit of a long process. And just a final comment, we don't have any budget, so to speak, for this, to support this work. Our intention will be to look at much of the work that's been done, very good work that's been done that can be of great value and use to this committee, and we expect to be able to use some consulting support and assistance to help committee understand that.
And the membership of this committee will be one town councilor, one long-range planning committee member, one planning board member, two residents, one Oak Hill pedestrian planning committee member, and one representative from the business community. Is that right?
That's right. And clearly, that's something you can choose to modify if you wish. We thought we'd suggest that to get the conversation started.
Okay. We have a motion to approve this.
Move approval of resolution number 1204. Do you want me to read it, Ronnie, or is that acceptable just to?
Well, it's up to you. It's a long one.
I will,
Gladly.
take your page out of your book, Ron, and say, let's not read it.
Look at it.
On the web.
Yeah, it's on the web. Look at it. No, it's a very long one, but I think Tom described it pretty accurately.
Need a second.
We need a second.
Second.
And comments.
Yeah, just a question. You said it was an ad hoc committee, but you've put no time spans on it. Okay, so that it's kind of begun.
Yeah, we really went back and forth. I was reminded of this council's interest in limiting or reducing the number of committees. There's many of them that you've disbanded because of inactivity. And so for that reason, we didn't want to have this to be a standing committee forevermore, though this charge can be potentially quite large. So it may be several years in works, quite frankly, as they work through systematically townwide. Yet I do see it sunsetting when their work's complete.
When traffic stops.
Yeah. And people all have helicopters or
Goes the
something,
other way.
I should also mention that the so-called long-range planning committee is entirely preoccupied with zoning matters, and as they should be, though many of the things discussed here are not dissimilar from the charge given to that committee, which is a standing committee. So it may be, as they work through and complete the implementation of the current plan, frankly, we might be ready for an update to our comp plan at that point, but they may be able to pick up some of these charges.
Bless you.
Just another comment. I think it's an important one. I think we've run into the situation at Oak Hill, and it is troublesome to the residents that live in and around the area. And I think we have many other areas of the community. I've had some changes in my neighborhood that I'm not completely happy with, and there are traffic issues there as well. And I think we're not going to stop traffic. Traffic is going to increase, and we've got to plan ahead, so that we don't have situations occur such as the Oak Hill project that has been disruptive to that neighborhood. Because we've got a lot of older neighborhoods that do get affected by these changes.
Anybody else? All those in favor of the resolution? Opposed? It's a vote.
Under old business, order number 1247 is act on the names posted to the various committee and boards as recommended by the Appointments Committee at the Town Council meeting of April 4th. This was tabled from the May 2nd Town Council meeting.
And accept the motion?
Any read those names in?
Anybody from the public who would like to speak on this issue, first of all? And if not, I'll ask Council Holbrook to read those names or present those names to us. Nobody? No, go ahead.
We have order number 1247 has Coastal Waters and Harbor Advisory Committee for Timothy Downs as a full voting member with a term to expire in 2015. Robert G. Willett as a full voting member with a term to expire in 2015. We have the Pest Management Advisory Committee with Ivor Carlson as a representative from Community Services, Terry Addy as a representative or taxpayer representative at large, Mark Philansby, resident or taxpayer representative at large, Todd Jepson as our State Department Director of Facilities, Tim Lindsay as the certified arborist, Sarah Wiley as the representative from the Conservation Commission, and Marla Zando as a resident or taxpayer representative.
Thank you. That was form of a motion.
Second.
Comments? Anybody? Seeing Council Roy.
I'm glad to see that finally we're going to post these names.
Me too.
This time.
Okay. No other comments? All those in favor? Opposed? It's a vote.
Under new business, order number 1267 is the first reading and schedule a public hearing and second reading on the proposed amendments to Chapter 1301, the General Assistance Ordinance pursuant to Title 22 of the Maine Revised Statute, subsection 4305.4.
Public comment on this issue. Tom, can you give us a brief?
I'll attempt, but I may defer to the town clerk. There have been recent changes in state law that affect our local general assistance ordinance. As I understand, the effect of these changes, they would replace the entirety of our appendices to our local ordinance. Is that correct, Tody?
Yes.
And those appendices are attached as part of this order.
All right, is there anybody from the public who'd like to speak? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval of order number 12-67.
Second.
Comments?
Just that this is an annual event.
Right, I was going to say that.
Handed
We
down
did
to
this
us
every
from
year.
the state legislature.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Do the motion.
Yes, Carol, and a second.
And what's the pleasure of the council? All those in favor? Opposed?
Order number 1268 is act to authorize the town manager to sign a donation and acknowledgement waiver with the Maine Department of Transportation for approximately 2,819 feet of land to be donated for the widening of the intersection of U.S. Route 9, which is the Pine Point Road, and U.S. Route 1.
Tom?
Yes, we received a request from the state just last week. As the clerk mentioned and introduced, The so-called, the former Scarborough Signs property on the corner of Route 1 and Pine Point Road was acquired by the town in late 2008, as I recall, or early 2009. My recollection is that we acquired it for the express purpose and the prior knowledge that we needed to do work in this area, and right-of-way, particularly in this corner, was going to be a necessary part of that. The town demolished building subsequent to purchasing the property, and it's remained vacant ever since. And in fact, the current design for improvements to the intersection do require some widening in this area to the tune of 2,819 square feet, give or take. And actually, the U.S. Constitution and certainly state law affords us as a landowner the ability for just compensation for that taking. And what's being requested of the town is that we waive that right and essentially donate the land for purposes of this improvement. And that's what's before you this evening.
Okay, is there anybody who would like to comment on this matter from the public? If not, this is the first reading, and we will schedule a public hearing, so you'll have an...
This is just
No, it's just an action.
Once I'm done.
Okay.
just in one action.
We need a motion then.
I would move approval of Order 1268.
Second.
Any comments?
I just have to make one, of course. I'm happy to do this donation to get this work done, but I want to say that the DOT has not always been as kind to the town of Scarborough as we are in doing this. So I hope that in the future, they might actually remember this act on our part. And when we need some little bit of assistance from them, they might be a little more forthcoming than they have been in the past.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes.
I'd just like to say, I'm glad to see some movement coming, because the Scarborough Company went down in 2009, and that intersection has been waiting for this work, 3 years now, which actually in what goes on today isn't a long time, I suppose, unless you live near there and have to go through the intersection. So I would like to find this to be on the positive side and the council vote for it so that we can hopefully go forth.
Actually, it's a project that's been in the works for about 10 years.
Yeah.
The bid with the sign company, though, was actually something happening.
I should just mention for public's benefit, essentially what this will accomplish is a dedicated slip lane or a right turn lane for that traffic heading up Pine Point Road away from the ocean, wanting to go north on Route 1. This will be a dedicated lane that will allow them to make that movement and thereby free up and severely improve the alignment issue for anyone that tries to get across that intersection and move into Broad Turn Road. There's an alignment issue and a constant question to many motorists. So this should very much clarify that entire turning movement.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yeah.
I have to also agree with Councilor Rancourt's statement. With the main DOT, I have my reservations about this. However, it's a project that we need to get done, and I suppose if we get compensation for it, it'll just add to the bill. So it's like one hand washes the other, I guess. But I also hope that they a little bit kinder to us in the future.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yep. Councilor DeAndrea.
Yep, I have to throw in my 2 cents here. And as in the past, I am not supportive of any of the work that's being done down there, as well as closing off the end of Payne Road and adding a whole new intersection. I'm really torn about this. Having lived at Pine Point for several years, I know about the traffic at that intersection. Whether this will solve any of those problems, I'm not totally convinced, just as I'm not convinced that creating a whole third new intersection down there is going to make any bit of difference. In fact, I think it'll make things worse. So I'm not sure how I'm going to vote. I think I'm going to vote against it and stay consistent.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, let's vote. All those in favor? Opposed? It's a vote.
Order number 1269 is act to adopt the 2012-2013 school budget resolutions as required by state statutes.
Tom?
I really have nothing to add. I'm not...
It's something we have to do.
It's something we have to do. I don't profess to understand why this is required. It is a matter of routine that happens every year after the council's taken its action and the voters have approved the budget.
Anybody from the public like to speak on this matter? Seeing none?
Move approval of order number 12-69.
Second.
Anybody like to speak on this one?
Glad it's over.
If not, all those in favor? Opposed? It's a vote. Next. Standing and special committee reports. Council Roy.
SEDCO is not having any further meetings until September, but the SEDCO department's A1 preparing for its move to the town hall, probably sometimes late June, and also getting it prepared for their annual meeting. Energy Committee meeting met last Friday. I was unable to attend that because I was at long-range planning, but they listened to a proposal relative to a tri-generation model for heating, cooling, and creating energy in the town, for the town hall, and that's a project that's in the works. It's just one of three proposals. One, we budgeted $165,000 for 2 new boilers because we have boilers down. 2, there was another model that we've looked at, and this is the tri-gen model, and we've still got a lot of work to do on that. And I don't know when the next committee meeting is. It's in my calendar somewhere. Long-Range Planning Committee, as you can see, with the work that we've done so far, is continuing. The comprehensive plan is in its 6th year, and they're moving through a lot of things. We just looked at the Scarborough Hill area that abuts the Higas Parkway, talking about potentially changing an area from RF to R2. We had our first neighborhood meeting on the 31st, and there was kind of a resounding no to any of that zone change. We talked about it in the Long Range Planning Committee. We're going to have a second meeting with neighborhood meeting on the 13th of June at 6:30 p.m. here at the Town Hall. We've worked at a compromise proposal that I think will be acceptable to the residents. And then the other 2 things that we're working on right now is the planning department is working on, actually, and they bring it to us to look at, is the reorganization of the zoning ordinances, and basically a formatting thing. And I think as any of us go into zoning and we try to look at something in zoning, there's something here that also was referred to on page 50, and something, on page 12 that's, also referred to on page 100. So it's a big task, but they're moving forward on that, and I think it will be helpful. There will be some consistency to the format for each of the zoning areas, and references out with exact pages, because there's been so many changes, the pages are upside down, etc. And then the other thing we're looking at is beginning or continuing discussions with the owners of the Scarborough Downs area, and we're talking about naming it a crossroads district, just talking with them about potential development of their properties and how it will fit with Higas Parkway and things, so that's ongoing. Finance Committee meeting, we were going to meet on the 12th, but due to some conflict of scheduling, where the Finance Committee will be meeting June 19th, and we'll be looking at our financial statements for May, and we won't have the June ones ready. Also looking at some of personal property taxes. I wanted to look at that haven't been paid for numbers of years, and looking at what we need to do there. And then the GP COG, I am the General Assembly representative, and I did attend the annual meeting this morning and got myself another committee assignment. I will be on the steering committee for the Greater Portland Council of Governments coming up. So that's it for committees.
Thank you, Councilor Holbrook.
I have two things. The Housing Alliance has concluded the last of their neighborhood meetings in relation to the collaborative project between the town of Scarborough and Habitat. They're actually planning on having a workshop with the council. It'll be prior to our June 20th meeting at 6 p.m. This is an outreach meeting just to see what the feeling of the council is and to address any concerns that the council may have, or just to receive general input before they try to move forward to the next step, which would be the planning board. Also, we have the appointments committee met this evening. We have several names to post. Coastal Waters and Harbor Advisory Committee, an applicant of David C. Green. We also have for the Energy Committee, applicant Sandy Dargy? D-A-R-G-I, Dargy?
Dargy, yeah,
Okay.
Dargy, yeah.
Thank you. And also for the Housing Alliance, Brian J. Shumway.
Now you got another committee to populate.
And we do have another committee to populate as well.
That transportation one, I'm sure we're looking for volunteers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that still leaves one vacancy on the Energy Committee as well. And I believe cable television still has openings on their committee. And last but not least, I'll need to touch base with, I think, the Fire Range Committee will be needing to meet within the next month. I'll be getting in touch with the members of that committee as well and calling a meeting for them.
Thank you, Councilor Talbot.
Nothing to report.
Councilor Bennett.
I'm all set, thank you.
Councilor Rankwood.
The ordinance committee meeting for the end of May was canceled due to some conflicts of scheduling. And my two colleagues, Counselor, hey, a promotion.
He's dreaming big.
Yeah, they appreciate it.
Counselor Sullivan and Counselor Benedict, if you could look at your calendars. I had a call from Mr. Donovan today. He would like to see us have a meeting shortly. I'm not sure with your schedules if that's possible, so if you can give me some 2 or 3 open dates, perhaps next week or the week after, we'll see if we can get something going. And my other 2 committees have not met yet this month.
Thank you. Councilor DeAndrea.
I have nothing to report at this time.
Okay. I have Eco Maine annual meetings coming up within the next 2 weeks. I'll be attending that. That's the only one I have. So, town manager's report?
Yes, a couple quick things I'd like to mention. I believe the council, at least the finance committee, is aware, the library, who had been providing passport processing services for town residents, actually any resident, has decided to get out of that business. It apparently was cumbersome and distracting their staff and patrons. Luckily, Community Services has picked that up. We had great hopes of starting up July 1. It's going to be probably closer to September before we're in a position to have staff fully trained and be in a position to receive and deal with customers. We have a number of vacancies through the summer months, and we just don't want to start until we're absolutely ready. So we have all the information. If residents are interested in obtaining a passport, there are other services that they can go to and have that service provided. The PAC's annual meeting is coming up. It'll be on June 26 at 5:30. Dinner will be served. It's at the U.S. campus, the Abrams Center. What's important about this is, one, it's their annual meeting, so you can find out what their activities have been and what their future stands to hold. One of the big changes happening as a result of the census, frankly, is that we're designated now a transportation management area. What comes with that is a whole different designation under the eyes of the federal government and some different organizational components. Of note, there'll be a much heavier emphasis on elected officials being part of that process as opposed to appointed staff. And so I'll keep you up to date as that whole process unfolds, but it will be discussed at some length at the annual meeting. I'm also pleased to announce that we've hired a new IT director that will serve both the needs of the town and the staff. Jennifer Nitchman is a town resident. Most recently, for the last 10 years or so, she has been the Senior Vice President and Director of Technology and Information Services for Saco Biddeford Savings Bank, and we're very pleased to have her come on board as of July 15th. And this is something that I've noticed and been looking forward to for some time now. Technology is really the key to doing more with less in many respects. We're trying to be more efficient, and technology is frankly the answer and the key, I think, in taking that approach. And lastly, I just remind the council we're ready to move forward with the tablet project. The final step is for you to provide us with your secret passwords. This is for your town email account. Tody does have slips of paper. We want to respect your privacy, so if you'd be kind enough to share those with us before you leave, I'll have the IT staff configure the tablets, and then next step will be to schedule a training session. I suggest we do it as a group in these chambers, and I think that would have a couple parts. One is just to orient you to the device, to understand how to operate it, and then to teach you how to obtain and find the information for council, for your duties as council.
Very important.
So I'll work with Council Chair on scheduling that, but again, if you can stop and see myself or Tody and share with us that password before you leave, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know, Tom, you usually say you entertain questions, and I have a question.
Please.
I noticed on the news report about the turnpike tolls increase, they mentioned a hearing in Scarborough. There were going to be 3 hearings, one of them being Scarborough. And I wondered, I would certainly like to testify about the impact of that to our town. And I wondered if you had any information about when that's going to be and where.
I beg your pardon, I'm not aware of where that is
Well,
held.
it was a news report, so
Yeah, I
it
heard
can
it
always
too.
be wrong. But if I'd like to get the date and know where, so any of us who want to. And I didn't know if we wanted to have some kind of a council resolution about, the cost of, that we would like to see more use of the turnpike and less use of our internal roads, so that this turnpike toll increase is really working at cross purposes to that goal.
I will find out the details of where and when that meeting is held. I'm not aware that it's held in this building, but I'll verify that.
Thank you.
Councilor.
Tom, I just had one question, please. The community services is going to be taking over the passports. Where will that work be open for the public to go to?
The intent is to service the public right from the counter, if you will, available in the community services office.
Okay.
So it'd be the 3rd floor, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Councilor comments? Councilor Benedict.
The only one comment that I have that you might find a little funny, but if you're in the position, you wouldn't.
We'll let you know.
I would this includes you, Ron. I would like to see if there was some way that we could write into the credentials of the gas station potential in the Haggis Parkway to also make it mandatory to include diesel fuel. There are a lot of cars that have diesel fuel as well as pickup trucks. But in conjunction with that, we are very limited in Scarborough where to buy diesel fuel. I find I've got to go about an 8 or 9 mile ride to find a station. And I guess it would be kind of nice if we could figure out a way that could be written into the prerequisites or stats or whatever you'd like to refer to them as.
I'll bring it to the committee.
Excuse me?
I'll bring it to the Long Range Planning Committee's attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I got to say, Ron.
Councilor Raincourt.
I have a couple. I was fortunate last night to be able to attend the Scarborough High School Senior Award Night on behalf of the Scarborough Alumni Scholarship Fund. We gave out 3 $1,000 scholarships last night, but I also want to say that out of that graduating class of 2012, there are over 100 honor graduates, and we had 3 students who received special scholarships. 2 of our students are going to the U.S. Naval Academy at a $400,000 scholarship for their entire education, and 1 going to the U.S. Coast Guard Academy for the same price. So, my hats are off to the graduates of 2012. And I also wanted to ask for a tiny moment of silence, perhaps a few seconds, 30 seconds of silence, in remembering this day. 68 years ago, this is D-Day, the landing at Normandy. My own dad was on a ship waiting to go on shore. He was 26 years old. He was an old man at that time for the Army. He had been in 5 years. He went in on D+1. But we have one former Scarborough resident, he's now deceased, Les Hashey, who was a paratrooper who went in on last night. And I just saw an article today that the Band of Brothers, there has been a monument placed at Normandy where they did land. And so we have a lot of World War II veterans who have passed away, but their service can really never be forgotten in the name of our freedom.
We'll have a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor DeAndrea?
Yeah, I have a few things. First of all, I was really pleased to see a young woman out front collecting signatures and educating people about BPA in children's food containers, and this is an issue I'm working on with one of the groups that I work with. And I was pleased to run into her, and she remembered me. She was a member of the high school Ecos Club here in Scarborough, and is now in college and working over the summer with an organization working on this issue. So I think that that's wonderful that she was here doing that tonight. I just wanted to make note of it. I also want to send a special thank you out tonight to Mark Maroon and Peggy Roberts as a personal thank you for helping me with some personal issues. 2 really wonderful people. And really, while Peggy is no longer associated with Scarborough, with her role, as folks may remember, she used to be the reporter for The Forecaster. She still is out and about and helping folks. So my hat's off to and many thanks to both Peggy Roberts and Mark Maroon this evening. And then finally, and last but of course not least, there are free trigger locks for all Scarborough residents. Again, they're free of charge. They can be picked up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at the Public Safety Building.
Thank you, Councilor Roy.
Yeah, several things, actually. I think we all received a letter, email from a Robert Hunter, and he is addressing the issue at Oak Hill, and he repeats most of what others have said, but I would like it to be added into the record, his letter, which was written as of June 3rd. Secondly, the Kiwanis asked me to make this announcement. The Scarborough Kiwanis is having a food drive on Saturday, June 9th at the Scarborough Kiwanis, and Scarborough High School Key Club will also be, they'll be in the front parking lot of the town hall, collecting non-perishable food for their annual food drive. Donations of food will go to Scarborough and South Portland food pantries. The Key Club members will be going door to door in some neighborhoods also collecting food donations. There'll also be drop-off boxes in all Scarborough schools, as well as several local banks, including Saco and Biddeford Savings, Key Bank, and the Seaport Credit Union, beginning on Monday, June 4th. And so if you have non-perishables and you'd like to donate, please do so. I also had the pleasure of attending the flag raising and the flagpole dedication ceremony for Dr. George Roy on May 26 from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m., and there was a small reception afterwards at the Town and Country Federal Credit Union. The memorial stone is there. I'm not sure that the bronze of his head profile is on there yet. It was delayed in being delivered, but there is a monument at the base of the flag. His son gave a speech on behalf of the family, and other relatives, both serving in the Marines, raised the flag, and it was a very, very nice ceremony, and honors a very special man who was, he served his God, his country, his family, and his community extremely well. So I was proud to be there. And for those that are deceased, as I usually do, there are several residents that passed away in the past couple of weeks. It's Georgiana Pratt Chase. She's the sister of Margaret Ross, served on the Conservation Commission. Elizabeth Kane Rounds, William McGarry, and Philip Cloney, excuse me. And then one other thing, when working with a couple of the residents from down at Higgins Beach, we've redone and corrected the brochures for the beaches. This one's the dogs on the beach and the piping plumber information, and what we added to that one was the responsible parties must pick up after their dogs, so that's in there. The beaches in Scarborough, there was redundant information, and on the back page, it was a blue page. And what we've done with that is to add some dues about using our beaches in Scarborough, be it Pine Point Beach, Ferry Beach, or Higgins Beach. Dues like things that people need to know. The beach passes are available, but to refrain from placing items and belongings in the dunes, and using the sidewalks just for pedestrian traffic, not for putting their bikes on or their surfboards, or setting up chairs, and the smoking areas, and keeping their radios at a reasonable sound level, and those kinds of things. And we did it in a positive note, the dues, and those have been available, and the clerks, as they sell the beach passes, are handing them out, so that people will know.
Did you include don't park your whale on the beach?
Don't park your wheel, no, because none had beached at that point. Also talks about picking up after the dogs, and things like that. So just kind of nice reminders. I think we probably can provide some to the reserve officers that are going to be down there, and they can hand them out to folks down there. So, but they are updated so they take care of all of the changes that we did with that, so that's good. And I think the only other thing was, Tom already said it, there was one other thing. The passwords, make sure that you do that before you leave. And then I also attended the pre-opening breakfast on the 20th of the Egg and I, and I wanted to thank the Egg and I as a new business in town, because what they did was all the folks that were invited, which were council members were invited, planning board members, other business owners in Scarborough, and there were a lot of folks who did attend. And you didn't have to pay for your meal, but you had to give a donation to Project Grace. What a wonderful way for a business to come into Scarborough. All of the proceeds from that day went to Project Grace. I don't know how much it was, but it must have been a goodly amount, because that place was packed. And so I think, that's a tremendous way for, for a new business.
I've been advised it was over $6,000 that was raised that day.
Yeah. And people donated very generously, and so it was good. And food's excellent as well, too. So that's it.
Councilor Holbrook. Councilor Sullivan.
Well, I'd just like to congratulate this year's graduating class, and good luck.
Yeah. I just want to say, I want to mention to Councilor Rancourt, thank you for your comments on D-Day. I always, you're always right on top of that, and the veterans issue, and I appreciate you bringing that up. Certainly, there's a lot of veterans in this town. We're losing them quickly. The older World War II ones, thousands every day.
They're dying at a rate of, and I heard at the Veterans Home, of about 2,500 per day. Because, most of them are 85 and up.
That's amazing.
Councilor Alquist, one other thing. I do have the annual report of GP-COG, and I was remiss in not getting more copies, but I'll see if we can request more copies from GP-COG, so each of you can have a copy of GP-COG's annual report. There's a lot of good information in it, also information about they are moving their location to Baxter Boulevard, which is saving them dollars. But I think it's an important annual report that you probably enjoy bedtime reading.
Yeah, look forward to that. Thank you. In my last thing, I just wanted to also congratulate the class of 2012 and my nephew, CJ, Cal Alquist Jr. Congratulations. He's pretty excited there. He's going to make it. It's all good, and he's pretty excited, and we're pretty excited too. So all those kids, this is a happy time of year for them, and certainly as they look forward to the future, it's congratulations and a job well done. With that, that's all I have.
Motion to
One
adjourn.
announcement. Tony was kind enough to respond to a question that Councilor Rancourt raised. The Maine Turnpike Authority is holding public meetings at the Auburn City Hall, Portland City Hall, and Saco City Hall on June 19, 20, and 21 respectively.
So they must have misspoken in the news report, because they did say Scarborough.
And I will send that
20.
information to you, so you have that for your disposal.
Thank you. Anybody else? We have a
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor? Good night, thank you.
So Tom, if we did want to do a resolution about that, we could do it the 20th.
Those are my
One of us could read it.
There's my minutes.
You got a bunch of other stuff.